What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today, I just kind of want to go over some things that I've been thinking about in breaking. I figured I got a new car mount for my camera. I do a lot of thinking when I am driving to and from work, so why not talk a little bit about breaking? I haven't talked about it in a couple months. So one of the things that I do want to bring up, there's a couple of things I've been thinking about lately, but one of the things I do want to bring up from time to time again, I get DMs. Normally I don't really talk about my personal experiences in breaking as far as, you know, the negative side of breaking. I try to keep as positive as I can lately, and some DMs that I get, some messages that I get, I just kind of never really talk about, because I feel like no matter what I say, it might come off as negative. But yeah, I figured why not? Let's just talk about it. So one of the questions I usually get is, do I regret the time that I put into breaking? So it's like this is kind of like a gray answer, because I'm on the fence with it. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but at the same time, I'm not saying this is the best thing, right? But I can say I don't really regret that much from breaking and the time that I put into breaking. Honestly, my best friends came from breaking. Most of my life experiences have come from breaking, and I wouldn't trade anything back for it. And I think when we talk about regrets and breaking, the main thing I can talk about is time, right? And the time that we spend in breaking, was it worth it by, you know, end of competition season or whatever your goals are? This is like the main issue for me, trying to explain situations to people about breaking, where people have goals, right? And people tend to have a saying of making it in breaking. I think when we talk about making it in breaking, it really differs from person to person. I don't think everybody is on the same brain wavelength of making it in the same exact way. Some people making it is making $1 million, settling down, being able to dance for your entire life, and, you know, buying 15 cars, right? That's making it for them. But for someone like myself, just speaking personally, especially from my generation, we didn't really have a thought process of making it in that way to make like $1 million and to be doing this for a living, because there just wasn't anybody doing it at the time. And realistically, there's maybe like 5 out of hundreds of thousands of breakers that are really making it in that way as well right now. I think making it is what your own personal goal is in breaking, you know? For me, I've made it in the way that I've wanted to make it, and more so, you know? So I think that's why the motivation for me kind of slowed down a little bit competition-wise, you know? I had a bunch of goals in mind for breaking, and I hit every single one of them and more, right? Like, I mean, it doesn't seem like that big of a deal when I tell people, like, yeah, I'm not, you know, I'm on a USA postage stamp, right? And it's super awesome. It's something that I would never imagine I would be, you know, be on. And then when I think about it, it's like, I'm technically, my image is there forever, right? Which is super sick. But like, it's something that I never really thought of. It wasn't like a goal of mine. So those are just like, kind of like the gravy on top, right? When I was younger, getting into breaking, I had a bunch of goals, and them goals just really included being able to dance for as long as I can dance for. That's one of the goals, right? And here I am today, I'm still dancing, right? Now, competition was never really a goal of mine, besides making it to certain competitions. So, a goal of mine when I first started, you know, was to just make it in that, right? To be noticed, to be recognized by the people I grew up recognizing. I wanted to be recognized by them. And, you know, I got to the biggest competition that you can get to. I've been to the biggest competitions that you can get to. But Red Bull BC1 was definitely like the biggest competition that I don't really know of anything more higher up than that, especially when I was in competition-wise. or training for competitions, like I don't know anything bigger than that, you know? So to get there in a competition standpoint, I'm not somebody who's like, oh, I want to lose 15 times and then finally win it. I don't care about that. I cared more about being recognized and making it to the final stage, you know, the biggest competition. That was my goal. And I achieved that goal. Once I achieved that goal, motivation for competitions kind of just fizzled out, right? And that's why I don't really care to compete as much anymore. So when I say, you know, do I regret the time I put into breaking? I don't, because I hit all the goals that I really wanted to. And it really depends on who you are as a person and what your goals are, you know? We also got to sidestep and think about what's happening on the outside of breaking. What's happening in real life? How long is it taking you to progress? How long have you been breaking for? Breaking is an evolving scene, and it's always going to be changing. And I think priorities, the unwritten rules, were always going to be changing, and they're always going to be different. So I think regretting anything in breaking is just more so of your personal goals, if you're achieving them personal goals. Personally, for myself, I did all the goals I really wanted to do. But I do have some regrets in breaking, you know, and it's not for what people probably think. One regret that really just stuck out to me when I was done, and it kind of sucks because it's like basically after I was done competing, was taking advantage of really being out of country and exploring, right? People get this idea of you get flown out to France and oh my God, you're so lucky you're getting flown out to France. You get to go to France and chill, and then you get to go dance. Realistically, what happens in most competitions, if you guys don't know, most competitions, you get flown out. It's okay, think of it like a business deal. Person hits you up, usually through a DM or email, wherever. They get in contact with you and say, hey, we want you or you and your crew to come out to my jam. I'm gonna pay for your flight. I'm gonna pay for your place to stay. You're gonna be here for 2 days. I don't know, 3 days, 4 days, whatever. Most of the time it's like 3 days because it takes almost a day to get there. Then you got like the competition weekend and then you go home. You know, and to me, this is a business deal. These are guys hiring you to come perform at an event with, you know, money that they are given from an organization or sponsor to get you to come out there. This is a business deal at this point. So usually you come out, you fly out and get in. They take you out to dinner sometimes, or they give you a voucher and they say, go grab some food, man. You go to sleep that night in the place that they booked for you. You wake up, they take you straight to the jam because you guys got to be there early. You sit around, wait to go battle on stage for maybe 1 or 2 battles. Or if you win, it's probably like the max, like 5 battles. And then you go back to sleep. The next day you wake up and you go home. That's the normal, well, maybe not anymore, but at least when I was in high competitions, that was the normal majority of events that I was getting flown out to. Which is fine. You know, you're out there to do a job. It's a business expense. You're there to just do it. One thing I regret is any free time that I did have in some of these countries, I do regret not taking advantage of that opportunity, you know? And sometimes it's unavoidable because you just don't have the transportation to do it. But also, sometimes my mind was just so focused on breaking, and I was very young, and all I wanted to do was break and, oh, you know, let's go to a practice spot or something. When realistically, probably should have been out there exploring a little bit. So it is one thing I do regret. And also, just to add on, I'm not saying all events do this. I've had amazing promoters over the past, however many years I was competing. I think I was competing for like 17 years, like getting flown out and stuff. And I mean, I'm still getting flown out today, but I mean competition-wise, like full competition mode. I think like the amount of promoters that really, it depends on the promoters and the way that they also looked at you coming into their country. Some promoters actually took the time and be like, hey, you're out here, we want to show you what the country's about, you know? And I think my first trip out of country was to Bulgaria to go judge with Maurizio and Toys. And the sleepwalking guys took us out there. They took us on hikes. They took us exploring to like the clubs at nighttime and everything. It was so dope. And it was a great first experience for me being out of the country. The guys from Floor Wars, all awesome people, took us out exploring Denmark. We missed a flight going home, and they were nice enough to take us in for the next, like, I think we had to stay for an extra like 2 or 3 days, and they housed us for that time, and it was super awesome of them. But I will say, there are events out there that you don't get that opportunity. I've been to France over 10 times now, and I'm not joking with you. I think I've actually explored France maybe three times, where I had some extra time to just go travel the city and explore. All them other times was very quick. You're here to dance, you go home. That's it. Nothing else. Taiwan with Choco. I've been out there for a month. The guy had me out there for a month. Choco is one of the best promoters. He took care of me, Toys, and Fleg when we were out there doing the Asia tour. But yeah, and again, I'm sure I'm leaving a couple people out, but there's, I've been out a lot of country. I've had 3 passports filled up with stamps that I needed to get a new one for, because every other time they would tell me, hey, you're going to need a new passport. There's no other spots in here. So I definitely am grateful for all them times, but I do regret the times that I had the opportunities to take advantage of it over there and I didn't. I can say it's basically the only thing I really do regret, which is kind of crazy, because I was doing all this stuff for like heavy for like 17-ish years. So when it comes down to timing, like, oh, I could have been going to school or something, I don't regret it, because breaking has just been amazing. Like I said, the people that I've met in this community are some of the closest people I'm with right now. And yeah, there were some bad apples in there, but the community's big. Avoid them. It's big, but it's small. You can avoid them bad apples most of the time. But outside of that, yeah, I just wanted to talk about a little bit about regrets and breaking, and just short and sweet. I don't really have that many regrets. I think the only regrets I have are something that isn't really breaking itself, but just my own fault for not taking the opportunity to go, explore more when I had them opportunities. Other than that, this video's been kind of short and sweet. Just wanted to talk a little bit about breaking and answer some questions like here and there, now that I can kind of talk on my way to and from work. So I hope you guys are having a good day. It's really sunny here. It's really hot. But, luxury of AC, what can I say? Probably I'm going to try to get the Starlink video up by the end of this week, if not by the end of next week. But I just figured I'm going to try to drop more videos more frequently about breaking and just other stuff. Other than that, guys, see you soon. Peace.